Hi everyone. So I figured I'd start uh, the conversation around what Jira is. Jira is just an application that it's really just a simplified version of Excel, and I think that going over really what Jira is in like this purest and simplest of its concept would help me a lot. This is something that I guess understood after a long time of using Jira, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm just dumb or or I guess it was never explained to me. But knowing this, I feel like it's just gonna make it a lot easier for everyone. So let's first go over what I guess let's start with Excel. So let's say that you are going to start a new project in Excel, right? So all you have is this spreadsheet. And so you wanted to make a new project. So the very first thing that you would want to do is have some. You always gotta think about the different, you know, uh, structures or the different uh, projects that you're gonna make. So let's Jira is meant to support a bunch of projects, so it'll make sense that we have something called like project, right? So let's say in this particular scenario, you got four capstones, right? So you got capstone one, capstone two, capstone three, and capstone four, right? And then within, you know, you can have multiple multiple capstones, so multiple things within a capstone. So you can have capstone one, you can have multiple things that you have to do in capstone one, and so forth with the other ones. But we're just gonna continue with capstone one for now. And then you got within capstone, right? You need something that identifies whatever thing you're trying to do within that project. So let's say identifier number, right? So you got like capstone 1001, capstone 1002, and so forth, right? It just keeps going. My gosh. Right? And so you got 3, 4, please. So 4, 6, and 7, right? So after you got this, right? Um, and again, this would keep going for like whichever capstone project, but we're just gonna focus on the first one, right? So then whatever you're gonna do, you're gonna have like a summary of whatever you're doing, right? So let's say get the main character moving, right? And then you want to, let's say, get the main character to shoot and then create the level and etc. You know, that just keeps going. And then um just for the sake of it, let me just look at my cheat codes. Okay, and then how much it'll take. So how much it'll take. Um, we normally call them story points. You can also do the estimates in hours. So story points, it's a long conversation, but uh, the way that most of Scrum masters will use this is how many days worth of work it'll take for someone to do it. So that a day for an engineer could be 4 hours, while for another engineer could be 7 hours. So like it's kind of like I guess like an open-ended thing, right? So let's say getting the main character moving. Let's say I'm doing this, and I'm not the best programmer, so it takes four story points or 4 days for me. That is not really uh, the good use of the story points. The story points is meant for severity, but most of the people that I've and talked to do not use it in that sense. So I'll just use it in the more regular sense. Getting the main character to shoot, maybe like a couple more days, and create a level. Okay, maybe a couple more days, right? Um, then we need who is going to be working on this, right? So assignee or whatever. So this is me. This is also me. This is also me, right? It could be someone else, etc., right? And then we got labels. This is in is it basically just helps you tag whatever you're doing. So in this case, I'm a producer, so I can tag it as producer. You could also tag it as whatever you want. This is kind of like an open-ended thing that you can do. And then last but not least, we got description. So here you got, okay, what do we need to get the character moving? What are the specifics? So we need to get the character moving on a 2D plane, right? And then we need the character to just shoot in front of him, right? Maybe you needed the character to shoot up or, sideways or whatever, but in this case, we just needed to, shoot in front. And then for create a level, we need a level that takes the player about 8 seconds to get across. These are just examples, right? So this is what we just created. Now, this exact same structure that we got here, this is what Jira does for you. So you create a project, so it takes care of this part, right? And then this identifier number, Jira just auto generates for you. So all you have to do is, create the summary, the story points, who is it assigned for, labels, descriptions, etc. So I'll give you the example because I have Jira right here. So once you're in Jira, all you would have to do would be create, right? Hit create, and then this is I'll for the next video, right? I'll make a project that's called Capstone One. But in general, you would select your capstone or whichever the name of your project is, and then you would select, issue type. I guess I missed that part. It should be like somewhere around here. So let's go over here and like issue type, right? So let's say story, could be a bug, it could be like whatever you want to call it, right? But for now, I'll just call them all story, which is basically, works that needs to be done. And then summary is the same thing that we got here. Description is the same thing we got here. And then we got, assigned, and I'll assign to myself, right? Summary, get the character moving. I'll get into all of this specifics later on, but for now I'm just trying to like keep it as basic as possible. So story points for assigned to me, labeled producer, right? So producer, where is this? Label. Has to be somewhere here. I'm pretty sure I've saw labels before. Sprint. Yep, it's not here. Was it in a different room? There we go. Okay. So as you can see, the labels and everything is per project. So that's why it's really important. You can also set priorities and a bunch of other things. So creating your own project and making it to your liking, it's really important because you can customize everything that you see here, which is actually really cool. So we need to get the character moving, blah blah blah, and assigned to me. I don't think I'm missing anything, right? So then you create it, and then you can see what you just created. And as you can see, you got basically the same thing. So we need to get the character moving it to the plane as a story, labels producer, blah, blah, blah. And if you export this to an Excel, right? Not this, sorry. Export this. So normally it would allow you to export to an Excel. I'm not sure why it's not letting you, or not letting me, rather. But if you were to do it, it would look something similar to the Excel that I just created. Let me see if I can. Here we go. So if you can see here, this is basically the same thing we had here, just to have a better format. So project, capstone one, this one which is BRE escape room, for example. Key, which is would be the this number is actually identifier number. And then we got summary, the one that we have here, get the main character moving. You should type, we got story, and so forth. So basically, this is the same information. As you can see, it's just a glorified spreadsheet. So I really hope this will, remove a little bit of the scariness of Jira, because it's not as complicated as it looks like. The next time I do one of these, I'll uh, explain a little bit more of the additional things that you can do in Jira. Maybe dig a little bit into dashboards. I'm not sure. I'll see. All right. Have a good day.